rare comic books that can be found on eBay that are actually not rare at all. We're going to take a look at some of those on this video up next from Bronzeville Comics. Hey there, comic book community. This is Jim from Bronzeville Comics coming to you with another video. And before we get started, do that like, comment, subscribe thing. Really appreciate that. Follow me on the other socials. Instagram, Bronzeville_comics, whatnot, Bronzeville_comics. I do sales every Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. There's a link in the description. If you're not yet on whatnot, you can sign up there. You'll get $10 off your first purchase, regardless of who the vendor is. Also in the description, there is a link to my eBay store. My email address is provided, and there's also a link to King Con 4, which is coming up March 25th and 26th. It's going to be a 2-day show this time in Island, New Jersey. If you've been there, you know what there is. It's a show entirely about comic books. You're not going to see many Funkos, much cosplay. If you just want to look for comic books, this is the show to be at. There will be artists this time. The show is expanding. I'm going to be selling there. Some other people in the community that maybe you see on YouTube and enjoy are going to be there as well. Very Gary, E-Rod and the New York Warriors are going to be there. Streetside Anthony, 360 Comics, Goodbye Comics, Panther Comics, Fury Comics, NRG, Bad Fish. I'm pretty sure they're all Eggplant Comics. A whole bunch of people from the community are going to be there. It's going to be a great time. So come on out. The link is in the description. So I want to talk about listings that list rare comic books. Now, there are plenty of listings that legitimately list rare comic books. Golden Age books. Golden Age books, by their very definition, are rare, especially when you look at books that people want. Superhero books, especially those from the early 1940s. Some unique books. Some keys from the Silver and even the Gold and even the Silver Age. High-grade copies. High-grade copies of books of keys from the Silver Age are pretty rare when you're talking about 9.4, 9.6, 9.8. Even high-grade copies from the early Copper Age are pretty rare. 9.9s and 10s of more recent books are rare. You will see occasionally some keys all of a sudden get that 9.9 or 10 distinction. Mark Jewelers inserts. Double covers. The price variants, like when Marvel was trying those price variants out in the 70s, and like Eternals 1 had a 30-cent price variant. Star Wars 1 has a very rare 35-cent price variant, which is a very pricey book. Canadian price variants. You have foreign editions. You have newsstand editions for later books. You have printing errors. Some of those errors where some ink was missing or something got away that was recalled that wasn't supposed to be out there in the public. And also, I came across a lot of signature series. Stan Lee signed a lot of books, but it still drives the value. And for a particular issue, especially a key issue, to have a Stan Lee signature is still fairly rare. And also, you'll see a lot of sketch covers. Those blank sketch covers that actually have sketches from artists on them or remarks on covers. Those are actually more one-of-a-kind than rare. But I'm going to be talking about comics that are not rare, but the listings say they are, and the prices are completely out of proportion with what the book actually is because it is not rare. So the first one I want to take a look at is Secret Origins #1, a DC book from 1972 that features the reprints of the origins of Superman, Barry Allen, Flash, and Batman. The listing is kind of comical in its misspellings. Comic T, one word. Issue, Batman, 2 words for Batman. Flash, Secret Society with 2 S's. Listed as Silver Age book. It's from 1972, so it is a Bronze Age book. They list it for $2,500, and the book they have is decidedly mid-grade. Now, I think maybe they think this book is like from the 40s or something, because I'm pretty sure in that book, DC did this at the time, they would tell the issue that the reprint was from. So, say like Showcase number 4, blah, blah, whatever month, 1956. But I don't know. It's not. It's a $15 to $20 book. It's in this particular copy is in mid-grade. So it is not rare. I think Secret Origins number 1, I have at least a couple of copies myself. Next is a book that is kind of rare, but a little overstated. It's Tales of Suspense 39, the 2020 silver foil edition that does have actual silver in the foil of the comic book. They're only 1,000 printed. And what makes this a little bit out of line is the asking price is $6,000. A CGC 9.8 of this book sold for $479. Now, this is a collector's item. I guess if you're a big Iron Man collector, it did come in its own collectible tin. So it is kind of a collector's item. I guess this is one of the things where I don't think the supply, is short enough to, I don't think the demand is large enough to make the supply fall into a rare book. Now, the next one is a book that is not rare. Well, maybe it is. It's Outcasts number 11, which was the 11th of 12 issues in a DC Limited series in the late 1980s. And they're selling this as it has an ad for Viva for Vendetta on the back cover. I think a lot of DC books from this month did have that ad. And it's hard to find. Never before sold on eBay. Cannot find anywhere else online. $7,000. Okay? $7,000 for Outcasts number 11. Now, maybe this is rare because I'm pretty sure the print count of this book was pretty low because I didn't even collect it. I stopped this book after issue number 3. Now, this is so hard to find. Now, they're asking $7,000 for it. It's a $2 book. To tell you how out of control a $7,000 price tag is for this book, Mile High Comics has it in stock, and they are selling their near mint copies for $10. Now, for a book to be sold for $10 by Mile High means that nobody wants it. That is a book that is less than $1 book. And so it's not rare. They're out there. Probably not a lot online, but you probably would find them in dollar bins. I'm not looking for in dollar bins, although it does kind of spark that completist's itch in me to be like, oh, it's 12-issue limited series. If I see it in a dollar bin, I only need to get issues 4 through 12. I already have the first 3. The next book is even less rare, I believe, and that is Spider-Man Unlimited number 1. First appearance of Shriek. Not rare. The price tag on this is $7,522, or that's just 24 monthly payments of $361.11 through PayPal credit. Who wants to tell them? This isn't rare. It's a $12 book, not a $7,500 book. And like with all of these kind of Carnage-related keys, that so many of them came out of the woodwork that we know it's not rare. I probably have, I would say, somewhere around that I've gotten in collections, I probably have like 4 or 5 copies of this myself. Could you imagine if they were $7,500 books? That would be really unusual for me to have like multiple copies. The next book isn't quite as rare, but it's still not at all rare. It's Spectacular Spider-Man number 6 from 1977, and it's listed as a newsstand. In 1977, they were all newsstands. I wish people would understand this. It's very frustrating. UPC codes first started appearing on comics in 1976. It would really be rare for a 1977 book to be a direct edition. There weren't any. There was no differentiation between newsstand and direct editions until 1979. So I'm pretty sure if you get a book encapsulated, if you got this book graded by CGC, I don't think it would have the newsstand notation on it, because they were all newsstands. It isn't until like kind of mid-1979 books that CGC denotes them as newsstands. At any rate, $8,000 asking price for a $15 comic book. Let's move on to the next book. This is a key. It is New Mutants 87 and a CGC 9.6 but it's mislabeled. It's mislabeled as New Mutants 98. The first appearance of Deadpool, not New Mutants 87, the first appearance of Cable. I have a secret for you. CGC errors are not rare. Now, this particular error may be unusual, like for CGC to make this exact mistake. But it's probably a one-of-a-kind mistake, but it's not the kind of error that people are going to pay for. It's a mechanical error. Just send it back to CGC and have them fix it, and then you'll be able to sell your New Mutants 87 for about $200. Sorry, not 15 grand. That's just the way that it works. Now, this one, I was kind of wondering, did I miss something? Is this actually a rare error or something that I missed? It's not. This is Shogun Warriors #1 from 1979. It is the Whitman edition, but the Whitman edition doesn't really have any more value than the regular edition. It's a newsstand. I don't believe. It's a good question. I don't believe there were direct editions yet. I think this is early 1979. But it's 1979, Shogun Warriors #1, Bronze Age, Marvel Comics' first comic book appearance. Rare. Not rare. It's not rare. It's plentiful. The asking price on this book, $50,000. $50,000. A copy of Shogun Warriors #1. Now, a graded 9.6 has a fair market value of $186. The only recent sale of a slab of this is in December for $63. And raw books you can get a high grade raw for under $20 of this book. You don't have to pay $50,000. And the thing I love about this listing, I love the confidence of the listing. Right? For absolutely the delusion really drives the confidence here. The description says, you are buying 1979 Shogun Warriors #1, Bronze Age, Marvel Comics' first comic book appearance. Used condition. I assure they're packed this safely for shipping, or you can check my recent feedback's last one. I'm sure this person packs things extremely well. Collectible. Extremely rare. Not just rare, but extremely rare. Out of print. If you're not really familiar with comic books and you just stumble upon this channel, all back issue comic books are out of print. They're printed for the month they're distributed. And there's some books that do have second printings and reprints and replicas, but that book was printed once and it's not going to be printed again. And specifically, Shogun Warriors was a licensed property that Marvel, I don't believe, has a right to anymore, so we won't even see a reprint of it. It will be sold. It's not going to be sold for $50,000. Buy it fast before it's gone. It's not going to go anywhere. It really isn't. It's not a rare book. It's not a $50,000 book. It's a $15 book. So, what does all of this teach us? Right? Now, I did learn some stuff. I was looking through, and when I saw a book that I thought was fairly common, I'm like, why is that on here? And sometimes it was double covers. I saw some Australian price variants, which is something I wasn't really familiar with. I think I'd heard a little bit about that. Some second printings that I wasn't aware of their value, like the Robin miniseries, that first Robin miniseries, that's plentiful. But the second print newsstand is very rare, and does command quite a bit of value. Do your homework, okay? Make sure that the book that you think is rare is actually the rare book. And sometimes I did come across a couple of listings where it was unusual, the variant wasn't listed. And that's something that sometimes does happen. I use Cover Price, and sometimes Cover Price doesn't cover all of the variants. I've been, sometimes I try to find a book. I had a book today in a collection I was trying to find. I saw it on eBay. It wasn't really anything special. I guess it was a variant cover, which wasn't the one to have because the main cover was a Jim Lee cover. The variant cover was not, and it wasn't a ratio, so it wasn't really worth really anything, because it was I think it was an Image or a cross-gen 90s book. But yeah, that's what we have. I mean, even if Shogun Warriors #1 was a Mark Jewelers triple cover something signed by Stan Lee, I still don't think it would be worth $50,000. So let me know what you think about rare books. Do you have any rare books in your collection? Oddities. Some people collect double covers. I've only come across one double cover ever, and it was a title. It was a Defenders book, so that is my keeper copy in my Defenders run. I think it's Defenders 34. Don't hold me on that. But do you have anything that is interesting, unusual? Obviously, I have a couple of Golden Age books that are relatively rare. You go back like to those early 40s, late 30s books. Most of them have less than 100 on the census, so they are fairly rare. So let me know, and what do you think? I did this video kind of tongue in cheek, just to have some fun with it. And also, I've been thinking of it because I do so much searching on eBay and come across things that are listed as rare that are not at all rare, and it just kind of was a little bit of a pet peeve of mine. And maybe I've gotten that out of my system now. Probably not. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. You can take a look at a couple of my other recent videos here. And this is Jim saying until next time, enjoy your comics.